in silence, stealthily watching, waiting in ambush. Or, at times, I must protect my daimyo, a secret lifeline cloaked in darkness. No trace will be left behind, only a new apprehension towards the unlit shadows. Chase me is to chase a shadow. Suffer in silence. It is done. Who is next?
Since I missed a lot of hero analyses for heroes after the summer of last year, after I covered Artio, and before I covered Ymir, I want to catch up on those heroes and go through reviews of them and give you some recommended advice. So let's start with the hero that was released after Artio, Hattori Hanzo, the legendary ninja warrior. Let's take a look at his skills. Starting with his ultimate, Eye of the Storm. So he throws a shuriken at someone. It doesn't damage that enemy unit, but it does slow down their attack speed. Everyone around that unit will be damaged though, up to 110% of his attack per second. Next, we're looking at his two passive skills, Shadow Windmill and Shadow Clone. There are similarities in that you can think of Hanzo as the Guardian version of Chiron. So both of them have slow auto attacks that deal extra damage, and they both have a skill that gets them out of trouble. In Chiron's case, he has the Phantom that he can put in the back line, and in Hanzo's case, he has the Shadow Clone that goes forward and taunts, but it doesn't attack, but at least Hanzo can go back safely. Some of the difference is Hanzo can still hit with critical chance and critical damage. Also, his auto attacks have the ability to bounce multiple times rather than a chance to just hit one extra time like Chiron would. So you'll find that he's very good for fighting big groups of enemies, which we will bring up at a later time. And we have his last skill, which is his active skill, Hidden Kunai. And it's a way for him to capitalize on finishing off the enemy unit with the lowest current HP, so the weakest one, reduces their defense and sets a mark on them so that he only focuses his auto attacks on them. So, good way to finish off any weak enemies. And now we're looking at his iconic weapon skills, all of which have to do with improving his Shadow Windmill passive skill. 500 is important because it increases the bounce limit from 4 to 5, and it also increases the chance of bouncing from 75% to 85% chance. You want as many bounces as possible so that you can capitalize on the attack boost as well as the attack boost from 1, 2, and 400. 600 is also important because you'll know you won't get that percentage decrease per bounce. It'll all be the same damage, so you can potentially do 500% damage per auto attack if it bounces all 5 times. Alright, and lastly, let's look at his iconic weapon. So his Chimera stat is attack speed. You can't improve that with the iconic weapon 2 attributes, so just go for all the offensive ones: attack, power, crit chance, crit damage, accuracy, physical, cleave, and you should be fine with him. Okay, so let's go over his performance in PvP and a little bit of PvE. So, like Chiron, Hanzo deals big damage per auto attack in exchange for a lower attack speed. So, Both of them deal great DPS when they're on the scaled Champions Arena, which it's scaled to level 350. So if Chiron can perform well there, I would imagine Hanzo can do the same. The only differences would be Hanzo is not as tanky as Chiron because he doesn't have Chiron's ability to convert crit damage into HP. So while Hanzo has the luxury of crit chance and actually dealing crit damage, I would not put him in the front even if he does have the Shadow Clone ability, which gives him some form of survivability. I'd still put him in the back row. Some heroes that he synergizes well with, Ymir, since she reduces attack speed of the enemy units, his ultimate reduces attack speed of one enemy unit. Prometheus, since Prometheus and Hanzo both deal with multiple target AoE style attacks, Nuwa can increase his attack when she triggers her ultimate skill. I think he would do well with Lilith. See, Lilith is primarily suited for PvP, so I think she would do well with him because it's always better to get Lilith's team mostly Guardian because there's that extra defense that is provided if a majority of the team is Guardian as opposed to being Shadow Arc. Now, let's talk the SSR units, not just the UR units. You also have Cassandra that you need to support him. Cassandra and Aladdin, since Hanzo has barely any form of crowd control, like his Shadow Clone can taunt for a few seconds and that's about it. He needs support so that he can keep on putting out damage. So Cassandra, Aladdin, get those combined with him in his team. I try to go for same faction so that you have the faction bonuses. Now besides PvP, a little bit of PvE, since his main divinity is Asterial, he would do well in the Crusade of Edda since everybody usually picks Asterial as their main divinity elder tree to work on since it has Amaterasu, Apollo, Lucifer, all great heroes for taking the farmlands. So keep that in mind when you're developing him. Alright, that's all I have for Hanzo. So in summary, he's a great DPS hero, he just needs a lot of support so that he can keep on outputting his DPS. Alright, I'll see you later.